Yo, what's going on, everyone? What's up, Convexity, Junie, Aiden? What up, what up, what up? It's Feeeeeeedback Fridays. Looks like we already have a few people that have joined. Let's take a look. Yeah, we already have 6 people in the raffle. Nice. What's up, Virtual Snow? What's up, Popcorn Pro? How's it going? How's it hanging? My fiance and I finally got our wedding venue booked. So we're pretty excited to have a place locked and loaded. What's up, Oxenic? All right, why don't we just get this ball moving, because I feel like I haven't had a single Feedback Friday where I've gotten through every submission that people have shared. So let's just get started. Let's choose a winner here. Who's it gonna be? Wait, I forgot. Wait, did we? I wish Artner was here that we could do a Gamba. If Artner joins, maybe we can try to do Gamba, because she was helping out with that a lot. But all right, let's choose a winner. Convexity, what you got for us? All right, looks like this is a new track that, yep, just came out today. I like it. What we working with here? Mint condition vibes here. Jack Swing. Got to be one of the loudest tracks I've had on stream before. Sick. for the follow, who is Soft Link. Sonic vibes here. I love me some jazzy pads. Sick. That's a really cool tune. I wonder who the Gap Band must be who wrote the original then, I'm guessing. I'm not familiar with the Gap Band, but it's definitely got this old school R&B jack swing vibe going. Reminds me of Mint Condition a lot. So it's a really fun idea to try to merge that with glitch hop. I don't know if I've heard anything quite like that before, so oh, wait. Oh, that's my bad, guys. I don't know why it's not sharing. Hold on. Give me a second. What's this? What's the fix for this? This has happened to me once before. All right, there we go. You guys can see it now, I think, right? I'm just waiting here for a moment. Okay, yeah, we're good. But yeah, in terms of feedback, I think the arrangement is cool. The idea is cool. I don't know the original, so I can't really judge it based on that. I think sometimes I know that you're using an unusual tuning here. You're somewhere like something like 50 cents off or something of a normal like 440 tuning, but that doesn't make really a difference. I mean, it sounds good no matter what. I think I almost feel like there was like a little bit more of a build or a transition going from like the jack swing R&B vibe going into the drop. But you know what? At the same time, it's kind of cool that it just drops straight into it like that. Yeah, it's really cool. There's a moment here after the drop where it gets a little, the chords. I like the idea of getting a little crazy with the chords, but I feel like it was some of the changes were a little. They were adventurous in a way that I feel like was distracting almost. Well, I think there's other effects going on top of like the crazy chord movements. So I think there's maybe some unison stuff going on, and there's maybe some of the patches I think potentially have some detuning and such too. That I feel like having those elements working in tandem does become a little bit confusing as a listener. Yo, Holzer Music, you can definitely still submit a track. Just type in !join. The way that I do my Feedback Fridays at the moment is it's just a completely random raffle. So you join, your name will be added to a list, and then every time I select a new song to listen to, I show you guys how I'm choosing it on Nightbot. The raffle gets activated, random name is chosen, and then we listen to that person's music. But we're going to improve the system hopefully in the near future because, as I've said before, I don't want people that have been waiting for hours to watch as somebody that joined like 5 minutes ago gets randomly chosen. So that's not a good feeling, obviously. So definitely aware of that, and we'll hopefully find something to address that. But anyways, back to the song. We gotta do follow-up. Yo, thank you for the follow, Tate Greedy. Yeah, I think that We gotta do follow up. Holzer, thank you for the follow. I think I would have loved to have heard some of the. I think a lot of the bass sound design. I enjoy how gritty and sharp it is, but I wish the drums were it might be more of an opinion-based thing, but I'm not super crazy about the drums. I think they fit the vibe, and so they work. It's more of like a sound selection kind of thing. I've been enjoying some, I guess one of the things that I really enjoy in mixdowns these days is kind of like a little bit of a less is more kind of approach. So maybe that's part of the reason why I'm feeling like that, where I kind of enjoy it when sounds and the mix is like really like kind of like a little bit cleaner, I suppose. But you know what? At the end of the day, like I think your mixdown actually like fits the style really well. So like even if you know, a clean mixdown isn't really maybe gonna communicate a lot of the energy that you're going for here. So I totally understand the choices you made. I think that I probably would have gone a slightly different route with some of the drum selection, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really make a huge difference. You know, your drums are definitely bringing the energy that's needed to kind of make this transition work. So yeah, I also really like this pad in the outro, by the way. It's really cool. So yeah, thank you for sharing. That's all I got for you for today. Definitely with the more nostalgic glitch hop choices. Yeah, I can see that. Well, I like it. Thanks for sharing. Let's go on to the next person. Oh, we got Caden Daniels up in here. Let's go. What's up, Why So Cold? You have won the raffle. All right, let's check this out. What do we got? What you got for us today, sir?
Yeah, just put some effects over the top of this, sort of time stretch it a little bit, pitch it up. There you go. Got it. Banger.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
All right, where are we going next? Sick. Okay, really like it. Feels like a great DJ tool. I like both drops. I think the arrangement is good. Definitely keeps your interest the whole time. And I don't know what the contest is, so I don't really know what you used from, from that. If you were supplied certain patches or samples or whatever, I have no idea. But so I'm not gonna judge it based on that. I think it's a great track. I think out of a lot of the songs I've heard you submit, this one, like what I've noticed a lot of times in some of the tracks I've heard you submit before is that things end up going a little bit too crazy at some point, and it becomes a little bit harder for me to like stay with you, and I'm not sure if that makes sense, but that's actually not the case here at all. I feel like I think the switch up is what works really well. You kind of go from like this halftime trap kind of vibe into like a knock 2 type 4 to the floor thing, and I think it works really well. And like the bass sound design I think translates to the double time tempo, or however you want to look at it. But either way, it's really good. I think there were some little bones I had to pick here and there. So like, for example, let's go to the first drop again. So there's something weird happening with the sub there. Not on the first downbeat. So there's like the...
When is my dad gonna come home?
Hey, Haywyre, thanks for the random question of the day. You always, you never know what he's gonna throw in the text to speech. I don't know, but I hope you find your dad. I don't know what I would do without my dad. But anyways, so I think that the downbeat, the first downbeat for the sub is fine, and then right after that comes this sub that sounds like it's somewhere between sustained and tremolo. So like, hold on, let me go. It's like got this subtle, like slight tremolo effect on it or something, and it's kind of thrown me off. I feel like here are my thoughts. You have right after these first few beats of the drop, you have a section here that's very rhythmic, right? You got the ticka 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 ticka. It's like 16th or 30 seconds or whatever. I think it's 16th, but right here. Right? So it's totally okay to contrast something that's that rhythmic and kind of like, obviously like a little bit of a short, quick rhythmic stab type bass rhythm. So it's totally okay to commit, I think, to the more legato, sustained bass sound in the beginning. So I think if I were you, I would just keep the legato like feel in the sub for the A section, and then for the B section, you already have something that's super rhythmic anyways. So that's one thing I noticed, and I think that with the sub movement is so important in bass music, right? Because that is a huge part of what's guiding the rhythm and the impact of the music. And I think if you're doing like a call and response type drops where you have A and B sections, it's almost that much more important to keep the contrast big, so that you're simplifying that aspect for the listener a little bit, if that makes sense. So I think it's important to be really cognizant of what that might feel like for a listener. I don't know, blasting it in their car or hearing it at a festival or something like that. And those little things matter so much. It's hard to explain, but obviously if any of you have been to a festival or heard any music really being played on a giant system, how much of an impact that low end can have on your experience. But anyways, so that's just like one thought that I had for you. I think other than that, Actually, that little bass riff, that patch I think could use a little bit of multi-band compression. There's some range in the lower mids or something where it feels like the volume, it would be nice to have it be a little bit more controlled. And then part of me is like, I feel like this could be kind of brick walled, potentially even more. I feel like a lot of EDM, it's not like this is an absolute must. And I don't think that, judging a song based on its SoundCloud waveform is it makes any sense. But I feel like for a lot of EDM, it makes sense to try to look for something pretty brick walled. But either way, I'm not really. That's pretty much all I got though. I really like the track. I think it's a really good tune, and it feels like a great what do you call it? Just like a good tool, dance floor tool. So thanks for sharing. Cool. Let's move on. Who else we got today? Tom Dune, what you got for us? This is a Dropbox link. Let's go. What do we have? Oh, Simon's. I think he's been in here a few times. Wait. Hold on. I don't know why this is muted. There we go.
Well then, somebody better tell them. I thought I told them. Beat them and scold them. Wise up you. Don't size up you. Walk and live. Talk and bumble clot dead. Me no see no boy where you tread. Beat your chest like you a tough guy. Tell you buck up in a. So me tell them all of the while. Trying to run up, you know, want to decide. Bad fly in the dark of the night, can't pardon the style. Man, a bad samurai. Easy, we make it look calm. Just a little cool breeze might end up in a storm. How we make it look easy, we make it look calm. So we just knock them one by one.
Very cool. So I think that we heard the original of this on stream some weeks ago, maybe even months ago. Am I right about that? I think that some of this sounds familiar, and I'm pretty sure like some of the vocals and the writing, maybe even the song, I remember being played on stream before. But cool. So this must be your remix with Flint and Figure. I do like it a lot. There's a few things, I guess, right off the bat. There's some great sound design. I feel like the arrangement is good. I think the energy is nice. I do like the Phrygian dominant vibes. Aha! It's been clocked into my memory. I like that I can use that in my vocabulary now. But yeah, I'm trying to think. There's a few moments where I felt like the momentum had maybe shifted a tiny bit too much. So I'll give you an example. So we have this intro.
Somebody better tell them.
And a lot of these like cinematic percussion things are really great here. And then you have this really big kind of dramatic reveal here with some sound design. So this is you're creating a lot of tension by bringing this into the equation, right? Because you're hyping up the listener. You're like, oh yeah, here's a taste of some energy, right? And I think that what happens right after this, you're kind of losing too much of the momentum that's being built here.
Easy, we make it look calm. Just a little cool breeze might end up in a storm.
Like this section is cool, and I like it, but I don't think that it fits here as a build into the actual drop. I don't know that I necessarily have a solution for you and what I think would be better, but there's so much more dynamism. Is that the right word? Dynamic. So much more dynamic range here, which, obviously in EDM, a lot of the ways to communicate energy is by just brick walling the listener with full spectrum sound stuff. And to go into something that has such a big dynamic range before the drop, after specifically having heard something that feels like it's creating so much tension here, I think is it's possibly just going to reduce the momentum too much. So I just wanted to throw that out there. You can ignore that too, but it's just it's one of the things that struck me. So then, anyways, from there we go into the drop. It's interesting because that melody isn't being foreshadowed at all. It's kind of just like, boom, here's the drop, here's this like brand new melody, a bunch of sound design, and the drums sound good, mix sounded good here. And I think it works overall. I'm not sure. Funny enough, the one thing that I'm not too crazy about is that melody. The choice to throw that melody there. And it's not that I don't like it. It's I don't know if I could put my finger on it. I don't mind it, I should say, but I'm not crazy about it either. So I'm just gonna throw that out there. Unfortunately, I know that doesn't really help much. But anyways, this entire section sounds good. There wasn't really anything that bothered me. Or that like stood out to me as like a huge problem or anything. I think there might be some room for something here to happen instead of kind of just like these chords. And it's really kind of yeah, reduction in tension and momentum. I mean, it's great to have that to build it back up.
Walk and live.
It kind of works. Honestly, it becomes like this more of a cinematic kind of moment to create a little bit of contrast. You know, we've just heard this probably like a minute or so of drum and bass, so I think it's totally fine to have this section here. So yeah, I don't know. I think like
And live. Talk and bumble clad dead. Me no see no boy react. Beat your chest like you a tough guy.
I actually really like that sound design there, by the way. That's really interesting. It's cool. But yeah, that's all I got for you. I think that it works really well as a remix, a drum and bass remix. I forget if the original is drum and bass too. And yeah, I mean, there's room for maybe some little embellishments or small stuff if you wanted to explore stuff, things like that. Maybe some additional piano in the outro here, or little things to kind of play around with, non-drop oriented things. I think largely speaking, all the sound design, the mixing stuff and the drops and stuff sounds good. So you could take some liberties in the outro instead of just kind of like basically just letting it all kind of just not I was gonna say fall apart, but that sounds negative. I just mean like to calm down. There's a little bit of room here if you want to take some liberties and do something weird. You can. But anyways, that's all I got for you. Thanks for sharing. It's a great tune. All right, let's keep moving. 8 and 720. What's going on? Okay, let's check this out.
Cheerboard, thank you so much for coming.
What is going on? What the hell?
You'll never suck dick like me.
Jesus Christ, what am I listening to right now? I don't want to hear this. I forget what's this rapper's name. I don't want to hear his voice ever again. All right. Whew. Wow. This feels like kind of a facetious submission. So I don't even really know how to critique something like this. I don't really have a I don't know. My ears are a little exhausted from that one. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have I don't have constructive criticism for this. I don't know. I'm not saying it's like inherently bad or anything, but goddamn that. God, well, first of all, that rapper, I keep forgetting what his name is, but kind of a terrible human being. But then his voice is also just incredibly, it's just going at you 24/7 in this song. Damn. It's just like, he's just shouting in your ear. Ah! Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I might be misinterpreting, what to do here. I just don't really have anything to say, to be honest. So yeah, 6ix9ine, that's right. Is that really his name? Just 6ix9ine? But I mean, I could tell that there's a lot of effort put into it, you know, so I'll give you that. I just, God, that man's voice drives me crazy. All right, let's roll on to the next one. Sorry, Aiden, I don't know if you were looking for some more legitimate feedback, but yeah, not kind of hard for me, I think, to give feedback with a track like this. Don't take it the wrong way. If you meant that, you know, if you want some actual constructive criticism, I can try to ignore the vocals and such, but it's obviously a big part of the song. But yeah, anyways, I appreciate you sharing. I do not want to hear that guy's voice again. What's up, Boxer Nick? I've never heard a 6ix9ine. I've never heard a 6ix9ine track voluntarily. It's always been something that that's been forced upon me through the radio or tried making Bro Step again. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's really been in the rotation for some time now, but man, yeah, I never really liked his music. All right, this is BBB by Oxenic. Cool. Yeah, feels like a good outline for kind of like a bro step ish track. I like the arrangement. It's very simple, straightforward. Drop sounds good. I think what I like the most is, you know, switching up. You kind of have this melodic section here for the second drop, and then it switches back into kind of like that original, less melodic drop. That's just kind of like focus on the sound design. It's really cool. I think in terms of constructive criticism. I think I'm just gonna like say high level. It feels like a lot of the elements are there. It just feels a little bit kind of cookie cutter, right? And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Not every track has to somehow be something, you know, revolutionary, switching up the game completely. But you know, it feels a little bit like too familiar to my ears. There's lots of energy. I think the mix is good enough, you know, and it's a good sound selection, and I think the sound design is good, and yeah, I mean, checking a lot of boxes, but it does feel kind of like yeah, a bit cookie cutter. And I think that's probably my biggest critique. Yeah, I mean, I don't really feel like it's worth going into too much detail on specific things, just because, like, yeah, it would kind of devolve into more opinion-based stuff. So there's no reason to go into that. So yeah, I think overall it works. It's just maybe a little bit. It's very much on the nose, right? So if that's what you're going for, you're actually like doing a great job. So yeah, thanks for sharing. Appreciate it, Oxenig. It's a really good tune. Okay, let's keep rolling. What's up, Noxel? How's it going? What up, what up? Hey, I'm sending you back a track I sent you last time. I made a lot of changes and applied your advice. What do you think about the structure? I'll let you know. Let's see what you got. Let us see. lots of good stuff going on here. I think obviously you already know. I don't really think that your writing is a point of contention for me. I think the track is progressing nicely. There's a few things that I noticed in this version. I'm having a hard time remembering exactly what it sounded like in the previous version. I remember the melody, but I can't remember everything else. There's some cool stuff going on with the drops where you're kind of like taking a more minimal approach instead of trying to like do something that's really kind of bombastic. So I think there's an example of that here. But also, where's there's a lot of good stuff going on. Outlet Tracks, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. But I think one of the big things, if we're like focusing on kind of like just general stuff, one thing I noticed is that it feels like you're having kind of a hard time mixing in your low end properly. It feels like it's taking up a little bit too much space in certain areas. So like for example, it might be that certain notes, I mean, this is something that can be difficult in the mixing process sometimes because certain subnotes are just going to kind of pop through the mix differently than others. So it can be really important to try to, if you have, let's say, like a serum sub, it can be really helpful to, let's say, like bounce it, even if it's just to look at the waveform and get a visual of how the volume is changing from from one note to another. But I think like trying to control the dynamics of that would be good because then you can also kind of control it in the context of the mix a little bit better. And then here in the build, it feels also like the sub is a little bit. It sounds like it's crowding the mix a bit, that sub, and it's also kind of pushing up to those it's in a range that doesn't feel great to have a sub in. It's quite high, and it's quite loud. So I think like it needs to either, I think the best thing to do would probably be just to reduce the volume. You could also go through this manually and just try to like see, what areas it might need to just kind of be reduced in volume a bit. But yeah, in this section for sure, it feels like it's a little bit too much. And there are some parts there as well that I think suffer a little bit from that. But it's not as big of a deal in the rest of the song. I didn't really notice it as much in other areas. And I like it. It's kind of like more of it has the feeling of it is less drop oriented. It feels more of like almost like a jam band, like a STS9 kind of track in that sense. There's a lot of cool fills going on, which I think is cool. It adds like a little bit of a switch up vibe in certain areas. Yeah, definitely kind of, now that I think about it, it reminds me of kind of like a lot of the jam band-y kind of electronic music that's out there that's a little bit more exploratory, if that makes sense. Like it's not so much listen to this one part of the song, remember this one part of the song. It's more of a just an experience, the whole thing. So, and at the same time, you still have this melody that is recurring that feels it's kind of like the something like that. But I like it. It's a great tune. And yeah, I just think that like locking or owning in on some of those little mix things, specifically with the sub, would be really helpful for your track. I did not really know how to fix this issue. Do you think it's fixed with EQ? It could be, but realistically, what I would do at the very least is I would, I think the quickest and easiest way would be to just bounce your sub and then look at the waveform and kind of get a visual of where it looks like it's kind of getting too loud. Some notes are going to just look a little different than others, but then also specifically use, maybe like a utility. I'm pretty sure you're in Ableton, so you can just use a utility and manually automate the gain. That's a really quick and dirty way of kind of going about it. But you could also, I think that's probably the best way to do it, honestly. And I would just turn it down during that build, and that's, yeah. I don't really know how to improve my mix skills. Maybe I need to train my ear more. Yeah, but listen, don't stress too much about it because, at the end of the day, it's all subjective anyways, right? Maybe you're on a path to developing a sound that that I don't understand yet, right? I'm trying to judge it to the best of my capabilities and give you some advice, but maybe I don't know, or maybe maybe I just don't know how to critique your vision quite yet. There's a lot of music that I made that was kind of like a stepping stone to understanding how to create songs the way that I want to. And every song is that in a way, I guess, right? We're always trying to improve and understand how to meet ourselves where we're at. And that's a really difficult process. So don't stress too much about needing to train more or do more. And I think just it's something that just comes naturally through a lot of practice, and you're obviously really talented. You're making great stuff. So I wouldn't stress too much about it. But yeah, obviously paying attention to when you're hearing other people's music on, let's say if you have a system at home. I know you have a home studio. So if you're listening to music on the same system, understanding how a lot of artists that you respect, that you enjoy, how they sound on that system that you're also mixing on is really helpful. But I'm going to head out. Okay. Thanks for hanging out, Omega Collector. Yeah, so don't stress out about it. Sometimes I can't even hear what is the mix issue on certain feedbacks. Yeah. Okay. Well, it might be that could point towards an issue with your gear. It's possible. I think I don't have amazing hearing anymore, but I do have good enough hearing still for the time being to notice things like this. And just hear me out. I will say this. Try going into this build section from 110 to until 130 or something. Let's say 133. I would just try turning down your sub 3 dB or something, and then try to listen to that section and see how it feels, and then try to reduce it by a more extreme amount, 10 dB. This is a common mix technique. You can exaggerate things. I like doing this when I'm incorporating a new layer where I do the opposite, and I'll add a new sound and I'll make it purposefully super loud so I can hear it first, and then I'll try to tone it back a bit and try to be okay, this is where it could maybe sit realistically in a finished version of the song, and I keep toning it down until I kind of find that sweet spot. You can do that in that way by exaggerating the volume and then toning it back. You could do it the other way too, where you kind of remove it and then you slowly bring the volume back in to a point where it feels oh, this is loud enough. It's fulfilling its purpose. At the end of the day, I think the sub in this section, I would argue, is kind of it's doing two things. It's one, it's keeping the chord progression grounded, and it's adding that root note like a bass player would add a root note. and it gives it that kind of like fullness and depth to carry the momentum forward. So that's from a compositional standpoint, but from a mixing standpoint, it's also carrying the momentum over, because having a sub playing in a song is actually it's adding a lot of weight to something. It's I mean, you can literally feel your body, you're vibrating, not just like the membranes of the speakers, but like literally people's bodies in those frequency ranges are physically responding to this stuff. So it's like, it's a thing that like communicates a certain level of kind of like of energy. You're kind of, I think in a way, like having a sub during a section like this, that feels like you're implying like it's associating that with like more weight and more intensity than without, for 100%. So that's how I would think of it, adding sub to section like that. But anyways, hopefully that helps. But you're doing great, man. Don't think too much about it. All right, let's roll on to the next person. What's up, Eswin? How's it going? You got something for us to listen to? Here you go. All right, let's check it out. Dun, dun, dun. All right, Eswin Cyberlily. I love that name for some reason. Jetpack and Cosmilk for Scythia.
Melted hands,
I like it. Very cool. I love it. Really, really interesting tune. I think that it feels very, like a really, really pleasant, exploratory, but still like energetic in a more subtle and emotional way kind of track. And I like that. I think that arrangement feels good. There's a lot of cool, sound design stuff going on. I especially like the second half, this section here. But the intro is great too.
Never did hurt.
Oh yeah, okay. So going back to the intro, I will say, I think that I do like a lot of the noisier kind of respaces here in this first half. Sometimes it feels like the noise is a bit too loud in these areas. And I think it could be kind of tamed a little bit more. I definitely didn't notice anything like that in the second half, but in the first half, I just think that it would be nice to tame some of that, the high end and the high mids of that kind of Reese bass sound. It feels like maybe just a tad bit too much in the mix. I think this AB idea is really cool, and I actually kind of it's a little surprising. You definitely don't see it coming. But that noise again, I think that noise is kind of making this section lose some of its impact. Not lose its impact. Sorry, I may have misspoken. I think that like it removes some of the impact of this section here by having that noise layer be a little bit too loud. Because there's no like high end information from these patches, so the contrast feels like it kind of feels like it's these little stabs in this kind of B section here for this like little garage drop type of area here of the song. It kind of makes this switch up a little bit less effective in my opinion. Just because that noise is like really it's really prevalent, and then to not have that in this patch at all kind of makes that contrast a bit. It means that sound in this section is losing some of its impact a little bit. But I think it could be cool to maybe there's room for like a Foley layer to kind of like help bring some of that noise into those plucks as well. Hold on, let me. I think that I don't know, that could be a cool way to add a little bit more presence for that sound. Let's keep moving. Another thing I was going to say too, because I really like the writing, and there's a lot of really great stuff happening here in the intro. I think one of my grievances with this section, this first half here, is that I feel the drums are a bit underwhelming. Not in terms of like they're not beefy enough, they're not loud enough. It's not like that. It's more of I think one of the things I love the most about like really good garage, as my British folk would say. Is that even right? Garage. I think that its drum selection can really make something feel much more I don't know. It speaks to you differently. This might be because I'm a producer, and so like I feel that these drums are just a little bit too kind of cookie cutter. I think that something that feels a bit more I don't know. Like if you think of just any run of the mill burial song as a reference. Some like really like something that in that lane that has a lot more kind of a character. I think that would just be really great. So like the vinyl weird crackly drums or things that aren't just a sine wave kick drum type thing. I don't know if that helps communicate what I'm trying to say here, but I do think that could really help shape this section, give it more character. But I really like what's going on here. Let's keep moving though. Yeah, all of this stuff is cool. The vocals are nice. They add a lot of flavor to the track, by the way. And then this entire section is really cool. I really love this. Yeah, it's really cool. Just a really fun idea. Feels very the bounciness is nice. Really cool tune. So thank you for sharing. You guys are onto something here. I hope you finish it and release it. That's all I got for you. Okay, let's keep moving. Really like that track, by the way. What's up, Petrolane? Sidetrack there. All right, this is Parked by Petrolane. It's a fun tempo too. It was like 135 or something like that. Anyways. I like that little sign flute thing. Man, some R&B vocals would go hard over this. It's like a top line. Obviously, there are some vocals in this. Key switch. Cool. Really dope idea. To me, I particularly like this section here. I really like that. I think that the little sub drop, just having that one little, just the sine wave movement on its own, leading into that downbeat with like the crash and all these kind of elements happening at the same time. It's cool. I like it. I definitely, in my mind, it does feel like an instrumental. So like I think as a standalone piece, it feels like it's maybe missing that kind of top line element a little bit. It kind of sounds like it's asking for that in my mind. And so obviously the vocal samples kind of help bridge some of that that gap that's there. But yeah, I just feel like this would crush with some vocals on top of it. But yeah, man, really love this one. This is one of my favorites of yours, Petrolane. So thanks for sharing. And the key switch is cool too. Vocals would be cool too. Yeah. Cool. All right. Thanks for sharing, man. All right. Let's move on. What's up, Caden? Let's go. Hopefully Caden's still here. What you got for us? Old sketch, all right. No worries. Let's check it out. Hell yeah, love it. Yo, you got to release a like a mixtape with all these tunes. Well, actually, never mind. Sorry, this is already released. Great feel. I feel like you're really like your drums as always. Really cool tune. I feel like one thing that I think about sometimes when I hear some of your tracks is they sometimes it feels like you have something very loop based, like you have a very loop based approach with your tracks, and it feels like you could totally if you, in my mind, there's two ways in which like some of your ideas could work out even better. And one way is to, I don't know if even better is really a fair way to put it, but like, just hear me out. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to articulate this, but in my mind, on the one side, I could see kind of like this more loop-based approach where you have a very consistent kind of chord progression, a drum beat kind of going over and over again. That to me implies and feels like it's creating room for a top line of some sort. I know I just said the same thing to Petrolane, but regardless of that, it has an instrumental feel because of that kind of repetitive loop-like nature. And so to me, it feels like it's kind of begging for a top line. But, there's also, there's tracks of yours sometimes that have a more like complex structure with, like intros or builds and like these variations. And then when they're like that, they feel like they have more complexity and they function better as a standalone piece. And if I were to try to think of a good example of somebody in that space, it's like Anomaly does an incredible job with that kind of stuff, right? I mean, it's all instrumental aside from maybe like that one track that he did with what's the group called? It's the duo. Why can't I think of their name? But anyways, you get my point. Like, there's kind of like a lot of this compositional variation and all these different sections that kind of bring you on more of a journey. And I know you have tracks like that too, but I know you said this is just a sketch, but if you wanted some thoughts from me in terms of what I could picture, where I could picture this like living and working out, then those are kind of the two things that came to my mind. But really cool tune, and thanks for sharing as always. Cool. Let's move on. What's up, Rayhem? What you got for us? Oh, were you not expecting? Did you mean to join? All right, we got something from Rayhem. Let's check it out. Eswin. Oh, wait. Didn't Eswin just share something with us? Nice. This section has a little bit of a Rufus vibe. Nice. Cool. It's a great tune. Yeah, arrangement very straightforward. I think there's a lot of cool stuff going on. Just in general, I think the vibe is nice. It's got like a very intimate and emotional feel to it. I think that if I were to just jump straight into some of the little random things that I noticed that I think are worth thinking about, I think the intro, there's nothing really.
It's always gonna let you down.
So, one of the first things that pops into my mind is drum selection. I think that the I have no problem with the writing here and introducing the drums and kind of like the low end and the vocals and everything that's happening. I think it sounds great. But I'm not convinced by the choice of having a clap on the 2 and 4. It feels like something that fits better into maybe something that has a little bit more energy or is more on the funky side. But for something that's so intimate and emotional and chill, I would argue, I would try to steer you in a different direction. Like maybe I was kind of even potentially hearing just the kick on each beat, and maybe for the first few measures, like nothing on the off beats, and then just a thought. But you could also try maybe some kind of rim shots instead, or I just think something that is a little more, I don't know, fits the kind of intimate nature of the song would be a good idea. Because here, I'll play it again.
It's always gonna let you down. That's how it's gonna be. Maybe take a look around.
Like, it obviously works. I'm not saying it's some kind of like horrible plight or issue with the song, but I do think something else that matches that feeling, like I said, would be a good idea. And also, I really like this section here. I think that one synth, that kind of like Rufus Du Sol like synth, that's playing that chord. I think you may have over EQ'd it a tiny bit. I would try to bring back some of those mids, the lower mids that are in there. It feels a little bit thinner than it needs to be at the moment. I also think that bell is a bit loud too. It's kind of a little too present in the mix. I think you could kind of push it back a little bit further. Yeah, then I will say, switching up the drums here, it's a fine idea. I do think having the clap at this point is also maybe a little bit less. I have less of an issue with it being this in this portion of the song, because at this point, you've kind of progressed things quite a bit. Mostly for this first kind of quote unquote drop, I think it would be nice to have something that's just a little bit more intimate and vulnerable, and in my mind, when I think about claps, it's like they are kind of emblematic of, like, you want people to clap along, right? And that's what it makes me think of, and that's where a lot of the energy comes from, in my opinion, with claps often, is like, it's kind of that signal to the crowd, to the audience, like, all right, hit those 2 and 4s, let's go. And that's not really the vibe I'm getting from this first half. And and if you want to build more energy and then have it happen in this second drop, that's totally reasonable. But I think of this first one, maybe no. But yeah, that's all I got for you. It's a really cool tune. I like it a lot, and I really, really have to go to the bathroom. So give me a quick second here. I will be right back. Just bear with me. Yeah, for sure. No problem, Rayhem. Love to. I wonder what it'd be like to be a good kickboxer. I wonder if that's like a fun thing to be good at. All right, let's move on. See what else we're working with today. I also gotta, man, I gotta start, not dressing so casual for streams. I'm kind of like constantly wearing like, I look a little homeless on streams, I think. Be kind of funny if I green screened myself into like a street corner or something. Make it look like I'm just out on the street somewhere. Okay, anyways, let's listen to like one more track and then I might call it. I was so caught off guard by getting picked. Yeah, see that. Okay, one more thing I'll say again, since I know I already mentioned this earlier, but I'm just gonna throw it out there. If this is, I'm using Nightbot right now to do these raffles, and I know that choosing people at random, it seems like a good method. But I've noticed, for example, Rayhem saying like I've been here for weeks and I haven't gotten chosen until now, so I was taken aback by that. But I wish if any of you guys know of a system that can like in Nightbot, I can tell it, for example, to say like, okay, if you're subscribed, you're 2 times more likely to get picked. And I don't want that. But I do want people that if they've been waiting for hours and they haven't gotten picked, to be more likely than somebody that just joined like a few minutes ago, So just throwing it out there. No week sleep. I've been trying for 5 weeks and I wasn't lucky yet. Damn. I heard about that. Yeah, Tokyo Machine made his own system. That's really no, it's all good. I did see that. I should hit him up and see if he wouldn't mind talking to me about his approach. But either way, I just wanted to throw it out there. I apologize that, I don't have the best system at the moment. I hope it's been relatively fair for the most part. But yeah, I just don't want to give people that are subscribed somehow an advantage, but yeah, it's turned into some other problems. All right, let's check out one more person's submission for today. Lots of good music going on. Let's choose a winner. Who's it gonna be? Oh wait, Omega left, I think, so we might have to skip this. I'm gonna wait for like 2 seconds, 3 seconds. I think Omega left. Yeah, let's re-roll. Salamander, what's going on? You got something for us? Lots of OTT. To OTT or to no TT? I can already hear it. Kind of got like a Coldplay feel to it, the chord progression. Or Moby. Cool. I really like it. Nice. Yeah, I think the from a general overview, like the writing, the all the different sections, the arrangement, everything feels really convincing from those perspectives. I think the biggest point of contention that I think most listeners would have is really just the mix. I think that that's one of the areas where there's the most room for improvement. I think that you know, the drop, for example, I really like the sound design, but I do have some issues with it from a mix standpoint. And there are some elements too, like for example the OTT piano. I know you were joking around about that, but I do think it might be over OTT'd, and I think that there are like stylistically there are artists that I feel like pull off the mega OTT vibe quite well, where it can be a part of like your mixdown style. I don't know if you could necessarily lump like Justice into that space, but like some of their tracks do kind of like have a lot of their like sampled like like moments in the tracks. They have like a little bit of a like an over compressed OTT vibe to it, and in that context, like I think they make it work stylistically. But I think given like the genre and like the style, having heard the whole song, I think you could tone it back a bit, and it'd be fine to still have a little more dynamic range in that piano. I'm also not 100% sure about using that specific piano patch. I think that you might want to. I like the the noise that's in that layer. It might be a keyscapes patch. I'm not 100% sure. It sounds a little bit like, let's say, well, not one of these. Anyways, I may not be able to find a patch right off the bat that has that amount of noise in it, but either way, I think something that's got a little bit less noise could be helpful too. But if you're already reducing the OTT, it will push less of that noise to the front of the mix. Anyways, but anyways, okay, let's keep moving. Let's take a look at the drop again. And again, I just want to say like the writing, the arrangement, everything is really cool. I feel like this is like totally up my alley. I think with in terms of I don't listen to tons of color bass, let alone dubstep, but like this is something that I would like. I think, but it's still a little ways away. So. I think that really, if I'm just gonna say that I think when it comes to giving feedback for dubstep, I'm not gonna act like I have, let's say, the credentials to give the best advice there. So even though I will say things like it feels like some of the mids are getting kind of lost in the mix. There's a lot of different things going on that I feel like would take some time to delve into one by one, so that I don't really feel comfortable, doing right now. For a more casual like overview for feedback. But I think in general, I would say there are a lot of artists that kind of set the standard, and have set standards from a mixdown perspective. For melodic dubstep, and I think obviously somebody like VR would be a great artist to reference for like a melodic drop, and I think that VR definitely has his style. Like everyone has their own character they bring to any genre, so it's like I wouldn't want you to get too caught up with like sounding like XYZ, but more so in terms of like how to fill out the spectrum effectively, because all the writing is there. Like a lot of the writing, the sound design, all that kind of like the arrangement of the drop, it's all there. I think it's really just a mixing equation. That's just the last little piece of the puzzle, I think, for you. So I don't know. I think that's the best I can do to try to not get into too much detail. Is I would do a lot of A and Bing. I would pull up some of your favorite melodic dubstep drops, And I would just go through, like, compare the lows, compare the mids, compare the highs, compare the sides, compare whatever. You could even throw it in Stem Roller or the Ableton's stem splitter thing. Is that live now? I don't know, but Stem Roller is free, so you could throw it in there and try to like compare and contrast drums and whatever the layers are that it spits out. I don't really remember, but all of that could be helpful insight into seeing like, oh, where are some areas where the mix is lacking a bit. But for sure, like, I think that a little bit of reference mixing could be really beneficial. But it's a really cool tune. I appreciate you sharing it. Spitfire Labs, soft piano. Gotcha. All the OTT settings reset when I reinstalled Windows. That's funny. Okay, well, that kind of explains some of that. But anyways, I'm going to call it there for now, y'all. Thanks so much for sharing some dope tunes. I appreciate it. And sorry if I didn't get to you today. I see there's some people here. Cherbor, Digum, Azrober, Safaro, No Weeks, and DJ Emergency. I know y'all we're hanging out in here for a while. So I apologize. But yeah. Hopefully next Friday. And even with the better system, there's just more people than I can, get through in a given stream. If I'm I don't want to just say like 2 words and say like, good song, okay, next person. I like to take a second and try to be like, okay, here's what I think you're going for, and here's maybe some advice that could be helpful. I don't want to just jump through people just for the sake of like fitting more people into the stream, you know what I mean? So I feel like that's not really helpful to anyone. So no matter what, I wouldn't be able to get through everything, but a better system would still be nice. So I'm gonna be back on Sunday, but I think for today I'm gonna be calling it. So I appreciate y'all sharing some tunes. Hope you, if you have a significant other, enjoy Valentine's Day. Yeah, I'll see you guys next time. 30K keys, let's go. Nice. What plectrums do you have there? I'm not sure what a plectrum is. I'm not sure I've ever heard of a plectrum. But yeah, take care, y'all. Peace out.